There comes a time in life, and it rarely arrives with a dramatic announcement. It slips in quietly, often after too many sleepless nights, broken expectations, and countless failed attempts to fix what refuses to bend. You've been doing more, haven't you? Pushing harder, hustling, meditating, journaling, manifesting, praying, making plans. Yet nothing seems to shift. You look up at the sky, and the only question that escapes your lips is, why isn't it working? Here's the truth that feels harsh at first, but becomes freeing once you see it. You'd been trying to force alignment with a clenched fist. And the universe doesn't answer fists, it answers surrender. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist not only persists, but grows in size." While you've been speaking affirmations about your future, deep inside your energy has been whispering something else entirely. I don't have it. I'm not enough. I'm afraid. And the universe doesn't just hear your words. It hears your energy. That's why your efforts aren't manifesting into results, not because you're lazy or broken, but because you've been operating from survival mode, trying to control what was never meant to be controlled. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And when your entire identity is built around chasing, fixing, and solving, your reality becomes a mirror of the emptiness you're trying to escape. So what if the most powerful move you could make right now wasn't to try harder, but to stop? Stop grasping. Stop pushing. Stop proving. Not out of fear, but out of faith. Not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Because when the doing stops, the becoming begins. When the noise fades, the unconscious wakes up. And when you stop interfering, the psyche begins to heal. The shadow begins to integrate, and reality starts aligning on its own. This isn't the end of your effort. It's the beginning of your surrender. Not giving up, but giving into something deeper, something timeless. Let go, and watch what happens. Chapter 1. Stop chasing. You're blocking yourself. We've been sold a story. That success comes from chasing. That happiness is the result of relentless pursuit. That if we just run faster and push harder, what we want will eventually fall into our hands. But Jung didn't teach us to chase dreams. He taught us to turn inward and ask, why am I chasing this in the first place? Sometimes, the thing we think we want isn't the true desire. It's just a bandage over a deeper wound. If you crave love so desperately that it consumes your thoughts, is it really about love? Or is it about the fear of being abandoned again? If you're obsessed with wealth, is it truly about money? Or is it about proving your worth to people who once made you feel small? Jung's brilliance wasn't in offering motivational slogans. It was in challenging us to confront ourselves. He said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That means if you don't bring your wounds into the light, they will quietly shape your desires. And you won't even realize it. You'll keep chasing things, thinking they'll complete you. But life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. If you are wounded, desperate, and fragmented inside, every goal you chase will slip through your fingers. Because the energy fueling your efforts is saying, I am not whole, I am not worthy, I need this to feel enough. And the universe mirrors your vibration. You can say, please give me love, but if your energy says, I don't have it, the universe will echo back, you're right. That's why people burn out in relationships that never work, careers that drain them, and validation that fades. It's not that their goals were wrong. It's that the self behind the goals was bleeding. The obsession is rarely about the thing itself. It's about what we believe that thing will fix inside us. And here's the difficult truth. If you got what you wanted right now, you might not be able to hold it, because your hands are still trembling from old pain. Jung wasn't here to help you manifest from the ego. He was here to help you integrate your soul to stop chasing and start facing the part of you that's been silently saying, I'm not chasing success, I'm chasing wholeness. So before you ask the universe for more, ask yourself, what part of me still feels empty? When you heal that part, you stop chasing what was never yours to begin with and start attracting what was always meant for you. This isn't about quitting your goals. It's about purifying your reasons. It's about becoming the kind of person who no longer needs because they are already whole. Only then will the universe stop testing you and start trusting you. Chapter 2. The unconscious is always listening. Most people wake up thinking life is testing them, that the universe is tossing challenges in their way to measure their strength. But the truth is more intimate than that. You're not being tested. You're being mirrored. Life doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. Not to your affirmations or your carefully curated posts about healing, but to your unconscious identity, the silent belief system driving every decision you make. Carl Jung understood this with piercing clarity when he said, "Your vision will become clear only when you look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens." You can declare that you want abundance, but if your unconscious still clings to scarcity, life will keep handing you situations that confirm that scarcity. You can claim you want love, but if your inner voice still says you're unworthy, you'll meet people who affirm that belief. The unconscious is always listening, and it's always creating. Think of it this way: your conscious mind is the actor on stage. Your unconscious is the director behind the curtain, choosing the set, the script, and the lighting. No matter how convincingly the actor delivers their lines, the story is shaped by the director's vision. If you want to change the story, you don't just rewrite the lines, you change the director's perspective. This is why so many people work themselves to exhaustion chasing change that never comes. They're tweaking the surface without touching the root. When you finally become still enough to hear your unconscious, you realize that life has never been punishing you. It has been matching you. And the moment your inner identity shifts, everything else follows. Stop scanning the heavens for messages and start paying attention to the ones already echoing inside your soul. The hard truth is this: if the deeper layers of your mind are still loaded with doubt, fear, old wounds, and feelings of not being enough, no amount of external positivity will truly land. You could write affirmations in shimmering gold above your bed. You could whisper, "I am worthy," until your voice is gone. But if your inner world doesn't believe it, it won't stick. The unconscious mind doesn't fall for surface-level declarations. It catches every whisper, stores every memory, and quietly directs the course of your life, even when you think you're the one steering. Let's be honest, that tightness in your chest when you imagine your dream life, that creeping anxiety when you wonder how it will all unfold, that isn't intuition. That's your inner self whispering, "You don't really believe this is possible." And life, being a mirror it is, responds accordingly. It doesn't hold back your desires out of cruelty. It simply reflects the energy you're broadcasting. "I'm not ready yet." So, what's the remedy? You stop. You stop begging the universe. You stop frantically pushing for results. You stop trying to wallpaper over internal chaos with forced positivity. True power doesn't come from doubling down on effort. It comes from stillness, from slowing down enough to hear the subtle voice within. When doubt appears, don't run. When fear rises, don't smother it with another motivational clip. Sit with it. Examine it. Translate it. Because every fear carries a message, and every hesitation is a signal. Your unconscious is always talking. The real question is, will you listen? And here's the paradox. The moment you stop meddling, the moment you stop trying to rush divine timing with human impatience, the shift begins. Your energy aligns. The resistance dissolves. And in that stillness, the universe leans in and says, "Now you're ready." You're not meant to chase alignment. You're meant to embody it. And that embodiment begins not in striving, but in the quiet power of presence. Chapter 3. Detachment is not giving up. It's waking up. Letting go isn't an act of surrender because you've lost hope or because you no longer care about what happens. It's the awakening to a deeper truth. I was never put here to control the entire world, only to understand myself within it. True detachment isn't about shutting down emotionally or pretending nothing matters. It's about taking your energy back from all the places it never truly belonged. It's the quiet, steady confidence that whispers, "I have done everything within my power." Now I release the rest. Carl Jung understood this real transformation is born not out of obsession, but out of surrender. And surrender is not passive. It's not about resignation. It's about deep alignment between who you are and what you desire. You can't pretend to detach. You can't scroll through social media telling yourself, "I'm over it," while secretly checking every 5 minutes to see if they've reached out. The unconscious doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your state of being. If your energy still screams, "I need this to feel whole," life will keep showing you situations that remind you just how incomplete you feel. Detachment doesn't mean you stop wanting. It means you stop depending. It's the unwavering inner voice that says, "Even if this never comes, I am still enough." And here lies the paradox. The moment you truly align with that truth, life begins to flow in your favor, not because you pushed for it, but because you stopped resisting it. Life bends for those who are already whole, not for those pleading to be completed. So, if you're in emotional pain right now, wrapped in that invisible net of longing, waiting, and obsessing, don't simply distract yourself. Pause. Ask, what part of me still believes that having this one thing will fix everything? That part of you, the one still waiting for love, for approval, for success, to use, doesn't need to be fixed. It needs to be seen. Not by your ex, not by your parents, not by the world, by you. When you can see yourself with no judgment and no shame, you stop searching for mirrors in other people. You become your own mirror. And that's when the shift truly begins. No more chasing. No more convincing. No more proving. Just you fully, unapologetically, powerfully yourself. Chapter 4. Allow the void. This is the space where transformation quietly takes root. After the letting go, after the struggle, the clinging, the endless bargaining, there comes a moment you don't expect. Nothing. No signs. No instant reward. No sudden breakthrough. Just silence. You wake up, and the world looks unchanged. Your phone is still quiet. The ache in your heart still lingers. The opportunity hasn't appeared. The message hasn't arrived. And a voice inside you begins to whisper, "Was any of that even worth it?" This is where most people break. We've been conditioned to think that once we release something, something better will instantly fill the space. But the universe doesn't operate on our personal schedule. It works in energetic alignment. And before it hands you what you've been asking for, it wants to see, who are you without it? Welcome to the void. The void feels like nothing, but it holds everything. It's the in-between space where the old self has dissolved, but the new self hasn't yet emerged. It's frightening because there's no map, no guarantees, no proof you're on the right track. There's only you, your thoughts, and the deafening quiet that dares you to trust something invisible. Carl Jung called this the creative void. He believed that in every appearance of chaos, there is a hidden order. What may seem like stillness on the surface is often deep, unseen construction beneath. Your soul isn't idle, it's under renovation. In this space, your unconscious mind is rewiring. Old attachments are breaking loose. New beliefs are taking root. Your nervous system is adjusting itself to finally receive what you once begged for. The danger here is subtle. Because you can't see the progress, your ego insists there is none. And if you believe that, you'll sabotage yourself, you'll start chasing again, and in doing so, block what was already moving toward you. The void is not a punishment. It's a cleansing. It strips away your reliance on external validation. It dismantles the illusion that you were ever in control. It cuts the cord to your addiction to outcomes. Until, at last, all that remains is your truth. And here's the key. Energy doesn't lie. You can hang vision boards on every wall, repeat affirmations until you're hoarse, meditate for hours, but if your energy still says, "I'm afraid it won't happen," life will reflect that fear back to you. The void asks you to become the person who already has the outcome before it arrives. Can you feel abundance before the money hits your account? Can you feel loved before the relationship shows up? Can you feel free before your circumstances change? If you can, you collapse the distance between where you are and where you want to be. You stop waiting and start embodying. You turn stillness into a magnetic force. You vibrate at the same frequency as your desire, and the world meets you there. But first you must pass the test. The silence. The uncertainty. The gap that convinces you you're doing nothing when, in truth, you're becoming everything. So if you're standing in the void right now, don't run. Don't scramble to fix it. Don't numb the discomfort. Stay. Breathe. Align. Listen. Because once you learn to master the sacred stillness, once you stop needing proof and start becoming presence, life will break the silence. And this time, what you hear will be your own song echoing back to you, amplified by the universe itself. Chapter 5. Integrate. Don't obsess. Every longing you feel is not random chance, nor is it some cruel trick from the universe dangling a prize just out of reach. Desire is a mirror, a reflection of the inner world, and it is also a message. It's not meant to send you chasing after something outside yourself, but to invite you to awaken something sleeping within. Carl Jung understood this intimately. To him, desire was the unconscious mind speaking in symbols, pointing not to an object but to a need of the soul. You don't crave money purely for the sake of being wealthy. You crave the sense of safety you believe it will bring. You don't want a relationship simply to be loved. You want to feel truly seen. You don't aim for success just to hear applause. You want the inner validation that says, I am enough. The object of the desire is rarely the problem. The problem lies in the unconscious attachment hiding beneath it, the belief that without this thing, you are incomplete. This is where so many people get stuck. They become obsessed. They confuse yearning with action. They check their phone over and over, rereading old messages. They overinterpret every delay, every silence, every shift in energy, and call it manifestation. But Jung's teachings, especially the path of individuation, show us something entirely different. The goal is not perfection. The goal is wholeness. And wholeness doesn't come from fixating on what you lack. It comes from integrating every part of yourself, your light and your shadow, your strength and your insecurity, your power and your pain. It comes from owning even the aspects of yourself you've been afraid to face. Because when you can hold both your strength and your struggle in the same hand, you stop needing life to complete you. You become complete on your own. Let this sink in. You don't attract what you obsess over. You attract what you've made peace with. So next time you feel the urge to chase, pause, not because you're lazy, but because you've mastered the art of stillness. Close your eyes. Breathe. Ask yourself, what part of me believes I need this in order to be whole? When you truly realize you're already whole, that you are not broken, not missing anything, not behind, something shifts. The compulsion to obsess fades. In its place comes calm, clarity, and a magnetic energy that draws things to you naturally. You stop needing the world to prove your worth, and ironically, that's when the world begins to respond in ways you couldn't have forced. Your very energy says, I am already it. I am already there. That's the gap between manifesting from desperation and magnetizing from alignment. Yes, you could keep pushing, keep searching for signs, keep feeding your fixation. Or you could do something truly radical, sit still, do nothing, and allow life to catch up to the version of you that already exists inside. Because once the inner work is done, there's no need to chase. You don't even have to ask. You simply allow. You simply receive. You simply are. Chapter 6. The ego wants control. The soul wants peace. Let's be real. That restless part of you that keeps checking your phone, refreshing your inbox, scanning for replies, counting the hours and asking, why hasn't it happened yet? That's not your higher self. That's your ego. It's the voice of fear, dressed up as urgency. The ego despises uncertainty. It craves a sense of control, even if it's only an illusion. When it doesn't get that control, it panics, spirals into worst-case scenarios, floods your body with anxiety, and tries to pass it off as intuition. But that isn't intuition. That's insecurity. That's unhealed fear wearing the mask of truth. Jung saw this inner battle clearly. He didn't just write about it, he lived it. He understood that life is a constant tension between the ego and the soul. The ego shouts, "I must control this so I don't get hurt again." The soul whispers, "I've survived worse. Let's trust the flow." Here's what most people never realize. The ego is obsessed with outcomes. The soul is devoted to alignment. The ego needs to know how it will all unfold. The soul only needs to feel that it will. The soul exists outside of time. It's not chasing, it's remembering. Jung once wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And the truth is, who you truly are is not the frantic paddock self you become when your ego is in charge. Beneath all that noise is a version of you that already feels complete. That self is not afraid of silence. It does not measure its worth by response times, follower counts, bank balances, or timelines. It breathes deeply, speaks slowly, and moves with grace instead of urgency, because it knows with unshakable certainty, everything meant for me will arrive, and it will arrive on time, divine time, not mine. To access this version of you, the real you must learn to pause when panic rises. You must interrupt that habitual pattern of anxiety and ask a question so simple yet so powerful. Is this coming from my ego or from my essence? If it feels like pressure, fear, or desperation, it's ego. If it feels like peace, trust, and surrender, it's soul. This doesn't mean you abandon your dreams. It means you stop suffocating them with fear. Because desperation is loud, but alignment is quiet. Alignment does not plead, does not chase. It simply is. So if you find yourself in a moment of doubt, resist the urge to add more noise. Don't drown yourself in distractions. Don't punish yourself with self-blame. Instead, close your eyes, place your hand over your heart, and ask, what would the healed version of me do right now? Then do that not because it guarantees a specific outcome, but because it anchors you in your truth. Remember, you're not here to control everything. You're here to co-create with life. And you cannot co-create from a place of panic. You must choose peace even when it feels uncomfortable, even when there's no visible proof, even when your ego is screaming that nothing is happening. Because the moment you choose peace over pressure, reality begins to rearrange itself. You stop being a passenger in your own life and start becoming the architect. Peace becomes your compass. Follow it, and everything meant for you will follow in return. Chapter 7. Shadow work is manifestation work. You can't manifest a richer, more fulfilling life if you're only willing to embrace the polished, acceptable parts of yourself. You can't call in true abundance while rejecting the parts of you that feel fear, anger, shame, or insecurity. The universe doesn't respond just to the image of who you want to be, it responds to your wholeness. And wholeness means facing the self you've avoided for years. Carl Jung called this hidden self the shadow. Not a villain, not a dark force in the horror movie sense, but the repressed aspects of you that you tucked away in order to survive. It's the fear you silenced, the anger you swallowed, the guilt you buried, and the feelings of unworthiness you masked with overachievement. Many people believe manifestation is only about visualizing, scripting, or keeping your vibration high. But true manifestation, the kind that's stable, soul-aligned, and lasting, doesn't come from fantasy. It comes from integration. Here's the truth. When you're fixated on finding love, it's often not about romance at all. It's about a wound whispering, if someone loves me, maybe I'll finally feel like I'm enough. When you work relentlessly for money, it's not just ambition driving you, it's a deep-seated belief that says, I'm not safe unless I have more. This is where many people fall into the trap. If your desires are rooted in your shadow and lack, fear, trauma, or unworthiness, the reality you create will carry that same energy. You'll draw in a partner who reactivates your abandonment fears, money that disappears as quickly as it comes, or career success that feels hollow and exhausting. Why does this happen? Because you're manifesting from a fragmented self. And as Jung taught, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So the real question isn't, how do I get more? It's, what part of me still believes I'm not enough right now? That's where shadow work begins. Shadow work isn't glamorous. It's uncomfortable. It asks you to stop blaming the outside world and start looking inward. It invites you to stop dwelling on what you didn't receive and start asking what part of you was unwilling or unprepared to receive it. It's not about shaming yourself, it's about taking ownership. It's about standing in front of all yourselves, the light and the dark, and saying, you're allowed here. You can be seen. You don't have to run my life from the background anymore. When your shadow is brought into the light, it stops secretly pulling the strings. It no longer sabotages opportunities or stirs chaos just to make you notice it. You reclaim your power. And here's the shift. Once you've integrated your shadow, your energy changes. You no longer create from a place of fear, you begin to draw things in from a place of wholeness. That's not wishful thinking, that's energetic alignment. It's nervous system stability. It's becoming the version of yourself who no longer needs external validation to feel safe or complete. When you reach this state, you stop forcing and start allowing. You stop trying to prove yourself and start radiating. You're no longer asking the universe from a place of lack, you're embodying the energy of already having it. And that inner reality bends the outer reality. Manifestation, then, isn't about mood boards, endless affirmations, or chasing signs. It's about deep, steady integration of every part of you. It's about doing the unglamorous work of looking in the mirror and admitting, I've been trying to create my future without making peace with my past. From this point onward, you stop running. You turn inward. You meet the parts of yourself that have been silently influencing your every choice. And when you do, the illusion that you're not enough yet dissolves. Your power returns. Your life starts reflecting your healed self, not your wounded one. This is manifestation in its truest form. This is individuation, Jung's lifelong teaching, and it's the key to freedom. Chapter 8. Don't stand in the way of your own destiny. This might be the hardest truth to face. The biggest obstacle between you and the life you desire is not your past, your trauma, or even fate itself. It's you. Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology and one of the deepest explorers of the human psyche, said something profoundly unsettling. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Why terrifying? Because true self-acceptance demands that you turn toward the very parts of yourself you've spent a lifetime avoiding: the guilt, the shame, the regrets, the fears whispering that maybe you'll never be enough. So instead of going inward, you run outward. You seek external proof of your worth. You push yourself for love, grind for achievements, chase dreams not from faith, but from desperation to escape the discomfort of sitting alone with yourself. Here's the uncomfortable paradox. Anything you pursue to avoid yourself will inevitably keep avoiding you. You think you're chasing your dream life, but often that dream becomes a shield, protecting you from confronting who you truly are right now. And the universe? It's not punishing you. It's safeguarding you, because if all your desires landed in your lap right now, a part of you still wouldn't believe you deserve to keep them. Jung pointed to an even deeper truth. When you refuse to fully accept yourself, you split into two selves. One part, the conscious mind, says, I want more. The other, the unconscious, says, I'm not ready. This creates a conflict within your energy, a magnetic field that pushes away what it pretends to attract. You don't block your destiny because you're weak. You block it because you're still living as an outdated version of yourself, one built for survival, shaped by wounds, and conditioned to earn love rather than receive it freely. This is the tragedy. Most people will spend their entire lives chasing results, when what they truly need is an identity shift. You don't need to do Morrayu. Need to become the version of yourself who doesn't need to chase. The version who already feels what you're trying to manifest. The version who knows, I am worthy. I am ready. I am enough. There's an unspoken universal law. You don't receive what you want to, receive what you are. If, deep down, you feel unworthy, no amount of affirmations will stop you from unconsciously sabotaging opportunities, relationships, or blessings. Your energy will betray your words. So if you're feeling stuck right now, it's not because life is against you. It's because your inner frequency is still broadcasting, I don't truly believe I deserve this. The universe is merely reflecting that belief back to you not as punishment, but as a wake-up call. The shift begins when you stop blaming bad luck, stop asking why nothing works, and instead ask, what part of me still believes I must suffer before I can receive? The moment you stop chasing outcomes and start evolving your self-concept, everything changes not overnight, not by magic, but naturally, from the inside out. You are not stuck. You are not cursed. You are being called to grow into the version of yourself who can hold the things you've been asking for not just for a fleeting moment, but for a lifetime. And when that inner transformation happens, you won't need to force manifestation, you will become it. That's not fantasy. That's alignment. That's individuation. That's the power of radical self-acceptance. Final chapter. You're not manifesting, you're remembering. Let's end with perhaps the deepest truth Jung ever hinted at. A truth that doesn't just shift your thinking, but restores your identity. You're not manifesting anything new. You're remembering who you've always been. You thought you were building a life from scratch. You believed you were attracting something outside of yourself, a soulmate, wealth, peace, purpose. You worked tirelessly journaling, visualizing, healing, integrating, trying to call something into existence. But what if the real task was never about bringing something in, but revealing what was always within you? Jung's brilliance wasn't in teaching people how to get more, it was in guiding them to see that they were never lacking in the first place. The love you've been searching for, the abundance you've been striving toward, the peace you've been craving, none of it was external. They are pieces of yourself you abandoned while surviving life's storms. This is the great remembering. You are not here to chase what you already are. You are here to reclaim it, embody it, and live from it. And once you do, the outer world stops feeling like a battlefield and starts reflecting your wholeness back to you. Because destiny isn't something you run after, it's something you align with. And alignment comes the moment you stop standing in your own way. Let this land deeply. The version of you that already has the love you crave, the peace you seek, and the life you desire already exists. It is not some distant, perfected version of you that you'll meet years from now. It is not hiding in some far-off someday. It is your original blueprint, the essence you were born with before the world convinced you that you had to become something else to be worthy. Somewhere along the road, the noise got louder than your soul. The world, in its well-meaning but misguided way, told you a lie. That you had to chase to matter, that your worth was something you earned, not something you already were, that love had to be performed for, and truth had to be sacrificed for acceptance. You believed them. And so you forgot your wholeness, forgot your divinity, forgot your natural alignment with life. But hear this, you never lost your power. You only lost your connection to it. Power is not something that can be stolen from you. It is only ever misplaced in the noise of conditioning, fear, and comparison. Now, as you walk this path of healing, growth, and self-discovery, it might feel like you're building yourself from scratch, brick by brick. But the truth is far simpler and far more beautiful. You're not building anything new. You're removing everything that isn't you. You're peeling back the layers of fear, guilt, proving, perfectionism, overthinking, attachments, and the endless stories you've been told. These are not who you are. They're static, interference, hiding the pure signal of your soul. Carl Jung understood this better than most. He never gave us a system to fix ourselves because he knew perhaps more than anyone that you are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. You need to be revealed. Who you really are is not the anxious, overthinking, insecure self you've been identifying with for years. That's your persona, the mask you built for survival, the coping mechanism forged in the fires of emotional neglect, societal conditioning, and spiritual forgetfulness. The persona serves a purpose. Yes, it kept you safe when you didn't know how to be fully yourself in a world that didn't always welcome authenticity. But the persona is not the truth. The truth is the witness underneath it all, the soul who remembers stillness, who doesn't need to chase because they already embody, who doesn't need to grasp because they already are. This is the you that has always been there, quietly watching from beneath the noise, patiently waiting for you to remember. And here is the final, sacred truth. When you stop grasping, when you stop hustling, when you stop trying to script and manipulate your way into your future from a place of fear, you return to your original frequency, the one you were born with, the one that never needed to be proven, only remembered. This is why things start aligning when you finally let go. Not because surrender is some cheat code for manifestation, but because surrender is your natural state, the state of trust, the state of being, the state where soul overrides ego, where energy overrides effort, where alignment replaces anxiety. So if you find yourself still stuck in the loop trying to think your way into a future, trying to force the divine to move on your personal deadline, pause. Not because the universe is ignoring you, but because it's whispering, remember. Remember that you were never here to beg for the life you want. You are here to remember it's already yours once you become the version of you who can receive it without fear, without doubt, without needing to prove you deserve it. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not manifesting. You are remembering. And now, you have remembered enough. You've peeled back enough layers to catch glimpses of who you've always been. Now it's time to return fully to the stillness, to the trust, to the soul that already knows. Everything meant for me will arrive, not when I chase it, but when I become it. And in that becoming, you do not force. You do not beg. You simply allow. You simply receive. You simply are. Welcome home. If even one line in this message cracked something open inside you, don't just scroll past it. Don't let this dissolve into the background noise of your feed like every other piece of content you half watch and forget. This isn't just a video or a page of text. This is a mirror, a moment, a message you are meant to find. Not by accident, not by chance, but by alignment. Carl Jung once said, "We meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life." Perhaps this message was one of those disguises, a reflection, a nudge, a spiritual checkpoint. So if you felt that shift even for a second, declare it. Say out loud, I let go. I align. I receive. Not for attention, not for likes, but to declare to your unconscious, this time, I choose alignment over obsession. I choose self over survival. I choose becoming over begging. And if you choose to share this with someone you love, someone stuck in the loop, someone chasing everything except themselves, remember Jung's other great truth. Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens. This is your awakening. This is your moment to turn your attention inward, to stop seeking and start seeing. Because in a world obsessed with more status, more hustle, more proof, stillness is rebellion. Presence is power. And sometimes, doing nothing is not laziness, but the most courageous act of becoming. So breathe. Feel. Remember. You are not manifesting. You are remembering. And your return starts now.